Sarah with another episode of Follow the Wolf, coming to you from the Den in Argenton. In this episode, we head down to the new Capitol View Studios to meet up with singer-songwriter Mark Currey to discuss his first solo album, Tarrant County. Enjoy. All right. Hey, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Fabulous.
Good. Congratulations on this new album, Tarrant County.
Thank you.
The listening party Sunday was so much fun. It was so great to be around all your die-hard Kickstarter fans. And
yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and hear the stories and listen to the album and listen to the songs that helped influence you and the album.
Sure.
So, Tarrant County, where did that come from?
Well, I was born in Fort Worth, Texas, and which Tarrant County is the county in which Fort Worth resides. And, so much of songwriting sometimes is, lyrically anyway, it's finding something that sings, finding something that kind of just works in a lyric or in a verse, and that song kind of came just out of that, just out of the words Tarrant County. I just liked the way it felt, and then that's where so much of my story begins, is in that area, and so the song came from that, and then once the album was recorded, it kind of made sense that was the title of the record as well. So.
Gotcha. And the album cover is so cool. What is the album cover?
The cover of the album is the old Dallas-Fort Worth Turnpike, and folks that maybe didn't spend a lot of time down in that part of the country in the 60s and early 70s won't necessarily know anything about that, but there was a toll road between Dallas and Fort Worth, opened in 1958 and was open until about 1978. And because I was born and grew up in Fort Worth but had family in Arkansas, we traveled through that toll booth like hundreds of times. And so that image to me is just very evocative of my childhood, because I've literally passed through those toll booths 100 times, at least.
And speaking of childhood, a lot of your songs do talk about, growing up and home and leaving home and not leaving home. And
Right.
can you tell us more about those themes? I know that's a definite theme of home and stuff throughout some of the songs of your album.
Yeah, I think part of, for me, the process of sort of songwriting in this stage in my life, when I was younger, I kind of tried to write one way, and I wanted, I had heroes like everybody does, but I never could quite get a handle on writing the kinds of songs that I was trying to write. And it was really only when I considered that I could just start sort of unpacking my own story and maybe write more personally than what I had tried to do when I was younger, that I sort of found this amazing creative freedom that sort of came from allowing myself to do that. And I joke all the time, and you may have heard me say this the other night, some of these songs couldn't have been written 20 years ago because A, I needed some distance from the stories, and B, because some of the people in the stories needed to not be around to hear them.
Exactly.
And so from that standpoint, it's just being at a stage in my life. I'm a little older, than probably most people releasing their first record, but because of that, I have a little bit of perspective on the earlier half of my existence that I didn't have, while I was in the middle of it, and so I think that's a lot of the reason that those songs kind of ended up being the songs that I wrote.
Okay, so growing up in Texas, what brought you to Arkansas?
Well, both of my parents are actually from Arkansas. My mother was born and grew up in Monticello, Arkansas. My dad was from Crossett. They got married and ended up moving to Texas. He got a job in Fort Worth, and he never left. My dad loved Fort Worth, and it just kind of that city probably defined my father as much as anything else I can think of on the planet. They divorced, and ultimately my mother came home, back to where her family was. And I had spent time in Monticello as a younger kid because we came to visit grandparents and aunts and uncles. But then when I was about 10, we moved to Arkansas and moved to Monticello, which is where my mother grew up, and that's where I went to middle school and high school.
Gotcha. Um, and you have a beautiful song that finishes the album and it finishes a lot of your shows called
Mm-hmm.
"All I Need" about your lovely wife Kim.
Yeah,
How did you meet Kim?
we met at UCA. We were both freshmen there in the music department. I was a vocal music major, and she was a piano major. And we met there at freshman orientation in the music department, and kind of, had I suppose, an attraction, I guess. But that relationship kind of, as a lot do, it started and stopped, and and the song kind of talks about that a little bit. I
Right.
mean, that's about just sort of getting that relationship rolling. But yeah, I mean, we met there and started dating kind of off and on during that first year in college, and then she ended up moving back to Little Rock. And went to school at UALR, and then we kind of dated long distance a little while, and then eventually I dropped out of school and came to Little Rock because a girl.
Good deal.
So 32 years later and 4 kids later, we're still, you know.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. And another song on the album is kind of a hat tip to one of your songwriting heroes, Jack Ingram.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you met him, or you won this songwriting contest. Tell
Yeah,
what's that?
yeah. A couple years ago, I ran across this competition. It's sponsored by the Texas Heritage Songwriters Association, and it was a songwriting competition for Texas songwriters. But as I read in the fine print, all it said was you had to be born in Texas. And so I thought, well, okay, I was born in Texas, and I certainly have a connection there, so I entered. They also didn't put any kind of age limit on it, which was interesting because the intent of the competition is to encourage young songwriters, you know, and I certainly didn't qualify as a young songwriter, but lo and behold, I ended up being chosen as one of the 8 finalists for that competition, which was very cool because they brought us all down to Austin for 3 days. We did songwriting workshops with Jack Ingram and Radney Foster. Got to play a gig at the Saxon Pub, which is one of the more storied
Right.
live music venues in all of the country, but certainly in Austin, it's just, I mean, Willie Nelson plays there and Bonnie Raitt plays there. I mean, it's a dive bar, but a dive bar that is very serious about live music.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, it was a great event. One of the things that we discovered while we were there, though, and I found out later that this is pretty universally known, that people that know Jack really well, and I don't claim to be, best buddies with Jack Ingram. We just chatted, and we're acquaintances, I guess, if that. But Jack was late for almost everything that we did during the course of the weekend, and as it turns out, that's something that people that know Jack know about Jack. And so at the show at the Saxon, it's time to get started. And I'm talking to the lady that kind of coordinated the event, and she said, "Well, it's time to start the show, but we're waiting on Jack." And I laughed, and I said, "Well, we've been waiting on Jack for the last 3 days." And she laughed, and she said, "That sounds like a song. You should write that." And so after the event was over, in the car on the way home from Austin, driving back to Little Rock, I wrote the chorus of the song, and then over the next month or so, kind of fleshed out the verses. And the song's not about Jack Ingram at all. It's just a great line,
Right.
that can mean a lot of different things in a honky tonk context.
Gotcha.
So.
Nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, very cool. And I've heard a lot of these songs just kind of, I guess, through you working on them. And you had a great acoustic songwriting gig Wednesday nights at the Afterthought this past year.
Yeah. Did that for right at a year. And every Wednesday night, called it What the Folk Wednesday. And really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. And it was a good opportunity to kind of continue to hammer away at those songs and to to work them out and decide what they were, and also to play a lot of other songs that I like and enjoy in a pretty low risk environment.
Right. So through working these songs out, I guess that in your head you're like, I can hear Charlotte Taylor singing with me on this song, and Bonnie Montgomery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are all the players on this record?
One of the things about this project that I'm most proud of and most excited about is the way that the local community of musicians were available and enthusiastic about participating. And even though I'm older than most all of these guys, I'm still consider myself fairly new to the Little Rock music scene. I mean, I'm older than Amy Garland, let's say, for instance, but Amy's been playing locally and live in Little Rock for a whole lot longer than I have. So in some ways, she's the veteran, and I feel like the newbie still sometimes. And so to have those folks that I admire and folks that I consider myself a fan of their work, to have them come and participate was really exciting. So yeah, we got Amy Garland, we got Mandy McBride, we got Bonnie Montgomery, Charlotte Taylor. They all sang on different songs. An old dear friend of mine, Pearl Brick, who's an amazing vocalist, lives up in Eureka Springs now, that I used to sing with years ago. She came and did a song with me. Another girl that I used to sing with quite a bit, named Barb Rainey, sang on several songs. Maybe the best harmony vocalist I've ever heard in my entire life. She's amazing. And then the core band, Bart Angel, from Salty Dogs and from Amy's band, played all the drums on the project. Matt Stone, who, I mean, we could spend the rest of the night just talking about all the bands that Matt's in, but phenomenal multi-instrumentalist, and he brought so much to the project because there's so many things that he could do. I mean, he played electric guitar, he played pedal steel, he played dobro, mandolin, banjo on one song. So, Matt was an amazing utility player and very musical, brought a lot of really, really fantastic musicianship to the record. Dan Schultz, been a friend of mine for years, wonderful bass player, played bass on all the tracks. Chuck Dodson, a keyboard player from Hot Springs, and one of the most interesting cats you'll ever meet. Just he's the definition of a Renaissance man. He's a poet, he's a musician, he's a photographer, he's a filmmaker, he's a writer. Any kind of creative endeavor you could think of, and Chuck's probably done it and done it well. Also, he has a Darth Vader Jesus in his apartment, which is pretty cool.
Enough said.
Yeah, it's really all you need to know. If you have a Darth Jesus, then that's pretty cool. And then also, we were able to bring in a lot of people that are kind of part of my musical story. I mean, over the years, Nathan Greer, who was a guitar player with me in Monkhouse, came in and played on one song. Nathan's kind of retired from music now, and he's very happy as a gentleman farmer up in Wooster, Arkansas, and he likes to plow, and they raise chickens, and they've got all kinds of critters and that sort of thing. He's loving that, but convinced him to come in and play on one song. Scott Chance played guitar on one song. Scott was my college roommate, another really phenomenal musician. And then my oldest friend on the planet is a guy named Rob Schrockberry. And we started playing and writing songs together and playing music together when we were in the 8th grade. So a long time. Rob went on to, and still makes his living as a musician. He's keyboardist and musical director with Dionne Warwick. And also has held that same position with Burt Bacharach. And he's one of those guys that you probably can't name somebody that he hasn't been on stage with. And not in the way that I say I've shared a stage, which means I opened a show at a local club.
Right.
Like Rob actually played with these people, like in there, And I mean, everybody from Adele to Boy George to Al Jarreau to, Elton John, anybody that you can think of just about, he's at one time or another played with. And he was in London recording a new record with his wife, Rumer, who is a platinum selling British songwriter and singer. And he called me up and said, "Hey man, I've got a studio booked for a week with this fantastic piano. Is there anything I could cut for you while we're here?" So he played on a couple of tunes and recorded the piano parts in London, and then sent those over, and we added them to the tracks we had here. So yeah, it's very cool.
Very cool.
Not only the kind of local people that I admire now, but virtually everybody that I would consider a significant part of my own musical story since the time I was 13, 14 years old, is on this record, which is pretty cool.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, to finish up, I mean, I could go on and on about this album and who else played on it, and listening to you sing around Little Rock for God, I could say a few years.
Yeah, yeah.
But and mind if I give away your age?
Not at all.
Okay,
not at all.
so as a 53-year-old songwriter,
yes, a 53-year-old
coming out with his first album, this full circle, is there anything you want the listener to possibly take away from your story or from this album?
Yeah, I mean, thematically, I don't know if, I mean, it's certainly not, I wouldn't call this any kind of a concept record, except that what I'm trying to do throughout the course of these 11 songs is to tell different aspects of my story and kind of make some sense of who I am. And frankly, being 53 is part of the story.
Right.
I mean, it's being at this stage in my life, and being able to view my own childhood as a father and as a grandfather now, and sort of filter my own experiences through kind of standing on the other side of that. I guess the thing that I would love for people to hear and to take away from this is ultimately what I connect with in songs that mean something to me, which is that when you hear a song that just in its bones it feels true,
Yeah.
then it resonates in a way that even if it didn't specifically happen to you, it kind of feels like it did because it feels real. It feels true, and I want the songs that I write to do that. And it's interesting too because again, some of it has to do with age, but as I said, I was a vocal music major in college, and I've done a lot of different kinds of singing. I've sang in rock and roll bands. I've done opera. I've done show tunes. I've been in musicals and done all of that kind of thing. And if there's ever been a thing that I've had a fair amount of confidence in, it's my ability to sing. I've sang since I could talk, and I like to talk too. So at this stage in my life, I appreciate it when people talk about my voice or compliment it if they like it. Then I love that, I thank you for that. I appreciate that. But at this point, I'm kind of more interested in knowing what folks think about the song.
Yeah.
Because there's, in some ways, that's more raw and more vulnerable than
Very
the singing.
much. Yeah.
Because I can sing other people's songs.
Right.
And I've done that, and I've enjoyed that, and I'll do that again, and I'll continue to enjoy that. But when you tell your own stories, then there's a vulnerability that comes with that. My favorite thing that happens, and even with close friends, is I'll do a show and somebody will be there and they'll come up to me afterwards and they'll say, "Hey, that song that you sang about, such and such, did that really happen?" And I love when that happens because if for no other reason, because it means they were listening, they were really paying attention to the story, and that's what I want to do. I want to tell engaging stories because that's what I get excited about, whether it's music or whether it's books that I read or movies that I watch or even TV shows. I want well told stories. I want somebody to tell me a story that I really lean into, so that's what I'm trying to do. And anytime I feel like I've done that, then that's a win.
Very good, very good. Well, so the album comes out on July 21st, right?
Yes, July 21st, finally.
Okay, we can get hard copies through.
Yeah. I'll have CDs. They'll be available on CD Baby, digital downloads at all the normal places: iTunes, Amazon, it'll be on Spotify. All the kind of regular places that one will purchase.
I got you. Do you have a website yourself, or is it?
Yeah, just markcurrey.com.
Okay.
With an E. Currey. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I cannot wait to hear the album again and to have a copy myself and tell more people about it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, guys. Check it out.
Follow the Woolf.
There you go. All right. That was fun. Okay.
Outside of Tarrant County, heading east, and the sun's at my back. I'm headed back to Arkansas, or maybe Louisiana, trying not to leave a track. And I guess no one's really looking for me. Hell, I figure they don't even know I'm gone. And I just wanna hide beneath a canopy of pine and maybe learn to be alone. And I don't need this bottle anymore. I'm just too numb to feel a goddamn thing. But needing something ain't the same as wanting it. I guess I throw away this damn door ring. Knowing where I'm going ain't what matters to me now, half as much as being gone. Enough is just some two-lane blacktop and a verse from some forgotten haggard song. And whiskey cannot cut the taste of salt upon your shoulders neath the Texas summer moon. Or the bitterness of waking up alone again and knowing that a ghost is in this room. Need your picture anymore. I can see you anytime I close my eyes. But needing you ain't half as bad as wanting you. I need to find a place to sleep a while. Outside of somewhere far away from nothing, and the sun is coming up. I tried to leave a haunted home behind in Tarrant County, but it ain't been far enough. No, it ain't been far enough. No, it ain't been far enough. Well, it's 2:25 on a Tuesday. The 10 o'clock hipsters won't be here for hours, and the light from the door cuts a line across the floor, and it stirs up the shadows and the ghost in this bar. They got Levon and Towns on the jukebox, and an old chunk of coal that's still trying to shine. But they ain't played one yet that can help me forget. So I'll wait on an old friend to help ease my mind. And I'm waiting on Jack to carry me back to somewhere in Texas that I've never been. So pour one more round to chase this one down till the party is over and the heartache begins. Well, we started our story in Dallas, and by that summer in Corpus, the magic was gone. And this Arkansas winter is hard on the sinner, but it's better than sleeping in Texas alone. And I'm waiting on Jack to carry me back somewhere in Texas that I've never been. So pour one more round to chase this one down until the party is over and the heartache begins. Now a boy with a beard and a guitar, he's tuning up on the stage. He's about to begin, and maybe I won't be gone when he plays his first song. So I hope it's a sad one for me and my friend. And I'm waiting on Jack to carry me back to somewhere in Texas that I've never been. So pour one more round to chase this one down till the party is over and the heartache begins. And I'm waiting on Jack to carry me back to somewhere in Texas that I've never been. Oh, so pour one more round to chase this one down until the party is over and the heartache begins. So pour one more round to chase this one down until the party is over and the heartache